Oh, that is a massive spider.
Don't. Okay. Looks like there's electricity here, man. Maybe they got a shower, a TV.
Oh yeah, there is a electric wire here, huh?
You got it, Sam.
This is your upper body workout you were waiting for. And core too.
You think my thing's on?
Your light is on? Your light is definitely on.
Oh, the camera I was talking
Oh, the
about.
camera, I don't know. I didn't put it. Check it out real quick.
Yeah, when we get to the big thing.
Okay. You just do it on the way out, right?
Don't worry about it.
I did the whole thing with the belly crawl one time. I don't normally do that, but my phobia was really kicking into high gear today.
How many are behind us? 4, right? Max.
Yeah?
There should be 3 more.
What was that, Dave?
Oh, yeah. I was counting
And
Emily.
your name is
David.
David.
Yep.
David. Sam, Trevor.
Man, there's so much room in here.
I know, right? We've got space over here you guys could sit too. You don't have to crouch into the ceiling.
Want to go over there and sit?
And what's your name?
Max.
Max. Okay.
Yes.
Max.
You can call me Maxwell if you hate me, but
Wow.
it's your call.
Max and Maxwell.
Unless you start singing Maxwell Silverhanger. Then I
I
care.
don't know that song.
Maxwell coffee?
Sorry?
Maxwell coffee?
That one doesn't bother me as much. As
Not really that
Silverhanger.
good coffee. So what do you think is on?
Is it okay for me to be here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I will specifically tell you when it's not okay to touch
Okay.
something in particular. Unless it's marked by strike lighting. What's your name again? Erica. Erica. Yeah. I'm like, how did you not remember? Erica.
Some more room for people.
There's your friend.
So you can see now, right?
Hey.
You can see if it's
What's your
flashing or
name
not?
again?
Right.
Yeah, it's flashing.
What is it, Bryce?
Bryce.
Bryce. Woo!
Bryce Canyon. I was named after it.
Oh, wow.
I wish I was named after a canyon.
You guys didn't see his name?
We did not.
When I see
Otherwise,
this
we would have
grass
turned
open.
back.
3 spiders for me.
I
Oh
saw
yeah,
one
that's
too.
something.
Seeing one for me is enough. I do the whole thing as a belly crawl, and that's not usually what I do, so.
One of
the best spiders,
deathly scary spiders.
Precipitation of wind. What?
Hi.
What up? Here you go. I have a question, remember? You have a sec?
No. That's not what I'm doing.
No, she has a whole minute.
Oh, okay. Gotta do the minute of rest.
All right. Well, first, before we get to Bryce's question, how's everyone feeling?
Good.
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 Little
If you guys
sweaty
could tilt
already.
your headlamps down, that'd be great. I'd be able to see your thumbs up a little easier. Yeah. Awesome. That's nice. How was the crawl for everybody? Is that kind of different from what you were expecting, or kind of a perfect start to the adventure?
Yeah, perfect.
More comfortable than I expected. Not gonna
More
lie.
comfortable? Yeah. I think I told every one of you, and well, you can hear this too. My phobia is like really kicking in today. I did the whole thing as a belly crawl. Normally I'm too tired to do that, so. Okay. Sam, you kind of gave like a.
No, just that last little
Yeah.
I'm good. If that's it, I'm good.
Yeah, so that like I was fascinated because it's like the rocks can shift and change in this crawlway, and like it felt like it was tighter than the last time I came in here. Granted, not the time with the snake, but the time before that. But the cool thing about this is like, you
I
know,
moved them.
yeah, exactly. That's why and I didn't even need to tell you,
I
Sam,
backed
but it was
up,
like,
I
yeah,
said, hold on.
move them out of the way. Yep, that's the
This is
good
what you
thing.
have to do
That's
to
the thing you couldn't do with the
Yep.
speed. So I'm gonna. How many of you are kind of with me and not comfortable with spiders? Okay, some of you. All right. You might not want to pay full attention during this story, but were any of you curious about the name of the cave? I don't think you are now, but
Kind of. I
Kind
just
of.
thought it was the way we went in. That's
okay.
why
So
it
you,
was
yeah,
named
you-
that,
Oh
but
yeah, I like that. Actually. Yeah, so it kind of goes back to the quote-unquote discovery story of the cave. Bryce and Erica know I don't like the word discovery. Talked about that during King's Palace yesterday. But people had known about this cave. There was a really prominent explorer that came here that we usually kind of credit as really getting to know Spider Cave. He became really connected with it as well. His name was Robert Niemeyer. He was told about the cave from someone else, from Jim White, actually. And so he wanted a different experience than Carlsbad Cavern. So he brought a few friends with him, and he came to this cave entrance. It was right at the bottom of a wash. And his friends started to go down first and immediately popped back out the hole and said, well, Robert, this is your cave. Why don't you go first? Kind of had this little smirk on his face. And so Robert started going down, and what we're seeing today was nothing like what they experienced. Because the entire crawlway, I'll look this way, was pulsing with spiders, all daddy long legs. As Robert was crawling through, they were like falling into his glasses, like on his back, and this is not the story I like to go into too much. But once they actually broke into this room, they kind of figured out that the only name they could pick for this cave was Spider Cave. With the manhole entrance that we have now, the number of daddy long legs has decreased. We usually see them in the summer months rather than the winter. So maybe that's why I was getting a little more freaked out, because I knew it was more likely that there'd be more of them there. But we don't see as many of them because of that manhole. It's bringing the entrance a little further away. The manhole was actually put there primarily because this being the bottom of the wash, as you could probably imagine, we get it flooded out occasionally. That's one of the things Emily and I had to do before we met you is, hey, weather service, is it going to rain? Because we don't want to go into the cave and then not be able to exit because there's no rain. That's why we're here. We have several steps to ensure our safety, but so when that manhole was constructed, that was in 1957. We like to say that it was lost for 16 years, but I think it was lost and refound again several times, just based on the fact that people came into the cave during those supposed 16 years that it was lost. But the idea was so that we wouldn't have to keep refinding the cave. Now, Robert Niemeyer became very familiar with this cave. He became very passionate about this cave as well. And he first came here in 1933. He had made several trips through the cave and was quite familiar with the passageways. But he was coming into the cave and, or he decided to come to the cave when a bunch of Canadian tourists decided to come. And he wanted to give them kind of a unique caving experience. So there were 2 Canadian tourists that he brought into Spider Cave with his friends, and they were having a really fun time, but his friend Tommy suddenly looked at his watch and said, "Oh shoot, I have to go meet Mary. I have a date in 2 hours. I need to leave. Are we still on for caving tomorrow?" And Robert said, "Oh yeah, go ahead. We'll be here for probably a few more hours and then we'll make our way back out." So Tommy took off, and the rest of them, they were taking photos, basically taking their time. As you guys are aware, flash powder just kind of sits in a room for a while, so they were just going slow through the cave. And then it got to be about 6 o'clock, and they realized, we probably should start heading out as well. And so Robert's friend Sammy starts leading the way, and he takes a turn, and then suddenly comes up to a blank wall. Says, "Well, this isn't right." And Robert thought he was joking. He's like, "Come on, you got lost, really?" So they go back to an area that we might see today, kind of had that as their base of operations, and Robert's like, "All right, I'll get us out of this cave. I can't believe you got lost." So he starts going, and he starts into this crawlway that gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and he's seeing footprints of mice, and realizing that he can't fit through this crawlway anymore, he found an exit, but it's not an exit that any human could fit through. Just mice. So he goes back. And the 2 Canadian tourists thought at first that they were pulling their leg. You're just kind of pulling our leg. We're lost in the cave, sure. But it became pretty apparent that they were actually lost. Now, Robert had actually brought along some string with them so they could do some exploration in places they weren't very familiar with. And the Canadians had asked, "Why don't you put that string in more places?" And Robert brushed them off, saying, "We know our way through the cave. We don't need to." Now they kind of wish they had put the string up, right? So they were laying a string out in all these different areas. They started drawing black arrows on the ceiling, indicating ways they had tried. And it got to the point where it was getting so late at night that they wanted to conserve their food and conserve their batteries and their lights. Pretty soon, in the morning, Robert thinks he hears something. He's sitting in the dark in this room, and he thinks he hears a voice. Well, the other guy with him kind of brushes him off, says, "No, you're not hearing this." But then pretty soon they see light. And it's Tommy coming back. Tommy brought his friend Bill, and Bill was just cursing behind him the whole time because of the spiders. But Tommy says, "Where the heck have you guys been?" And Robert says, "We've been here. Where have you been?" And Tommy starts teasing him for getting lost and says, "I can't believe you couldn't find your way out of the cave. Are you serious?" And Robert says, "Okay, lead us out." And so Tommy starts leading them out of the cave. They come to a blank wall.
Oh, man. Now it goes last.
So they go back to Cactus Spring, to their base of operation, and they decide, okay, let's figure out where we saw Tommy's light. And they start going that direction, knowing that must be the way out. And in one room, Tommy finally kind of casts his light down a little ways and sees a hole that no one had previously tried. But they all remember, suddenly a light bulb goes off. We actually crawled through that hole. They found their way out. They're not so haunted. Nowadays, we do have better ways of finding our way through the cave than just drawing arrows and putting out, Emily brought the string.
Oh, shoot.
I'm pretty good with sense of direction.
No, we have a lot better methods now, rather than just kind of guessing our way through or just exploring in areas that we're familiar with. We actually survey as we go, so we map the cave as we go. And cave surveying is a really, it's not really a technical skill. Anyone can really learn that. And to prove that, I want to turn us all into a cave surveying team. We're a little large for one team, but we'll make it. So as we head on, I want you to think about what kind of equipment might be required if you were to come map a cave. what kind of team members you might want, what knowledge you might already want before you go into it. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Great.
Ready to go?
I'm kind of wishing I would have brought my phone now.
GPS,
That just
yeah.
means I have to come back.
It's true. Gives you a good excuse. Which way do you guys think we're going?
Either right or left.
We're coming back this way.
We're coming back this way. Okay. We're going that. So the vocal people are like,
Is this cave fully explored?
good question. Is this cave fully explored? What do you guys think?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. You'll be right on your guess.
This thing on?
You want to go?
Yes, both are on.
You wanna go?
after you then. You are getting over a cold, aren't you?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay, guys, there's a rock here that's a little loose.
What? Your left foot's on it?
Left foot, yep.
Eh. It's kind of loose. Left one.
Careful of this rock right here. This one?
That one's looser.
Alright. So, I want you guys to squeeze a loose rock together. Kind of, yeah. You can always pass this back if you'd like. That's easier. So you can use the rope as an assist going down this area. There is kind of a landing zone right underneath the rope where I want you to hit. There's water right in there that I want you to avoid. Okay? So you're going to hit that landing zone and then you're going to cross the water over to that area. You'll see it a little clearer when you get above it. But it's real slick, so just 3 points of contact.
Contact.
There's a dry area.
Right where her foot is.
Oh, yep. See?
Okay, don't hit the water.
Don't hit the water.
It's a little tiny bit of rain in it. You see the little bump?
So, can't really go under it, huh?
I don't care if you go under it. I usually go under on the way back. This is all this is.
Up over here to this spot.
Like, nice foothold here.
Yep, that's a good foothold. Get your foot on the landing and maneuver. Don't hit the water like Ursula did.
Hey, let's not say names. Max.
It's not. Because they literally step in the water here.
Watch out for wet spots, Max.
Understood, David. Watch out for wet spots. Human communication, man. Makes sense.
Cooperation.
Slide and then on the, yeah. Alright, Brave.
Okay.
Watch out, these steps are rock.
Was it drop?
It's a little bit of a drop, still wet. And then
I use the
do
arc
a
of your
crab
right
walk.
here if you can make it.
Okay.
Doing a crab walk.
They still call it that, huh?
Probably just so you don't get so muddy. Crab walk to prevent you get wet.
To the right.
Same direction to the right. Looks pretty tight. Maybe straddle that rock. Sharp breath.
Wait.
This rock will reduce the
Pass on the information.
I'll walk over here. Low crawl through here, Max.
Okay.
Your groin's gonna be on this rock.
Okay.
Then a sharp left turn, Max.
And then I did a sharp left turn, so I heard.
The next instruction is don't touch the white walls.
Uh-oh. We can't touch something up here.
Keep your hand at the bait.
Don't touch white stuff when you're up here.
Okay.
Probably this white stuff, too.
Light formation.
Like Christmas. Hey, we want to try to do this right.
I already
Alright, you stay here.
yes.
Should have brought the coffee.
So you guys do have some equipment.
Yeah, so that's monitoring some scientific research.
Humidity.
Just make sure to not touch the white in case you guys are all getting a message. The white walls.
This ain't white thing?
You can move that too. Sit on it.
So true, wouldn't it all wrong?
Yes.
I can see why he got lost. What, there's three there?
Probably come in here. First,
Two different ways
the
to
white walls.
Oh, this is where you got lost?
There's probably ways to go back that way.
Try to just avoid the white walls.
There's a lot of nooks and crannies.
Four different ways to keep going, man.
It's habit, yeah. That's why I like
It's hard when some of it's not all white.
exactly. Yep. So Sam, as you come in here, try not to touch the
Oh, this one.
I've only gone cruising one other time. It was in Schoharie, New York. You could just like walk through this cave. And we were an officer, and so we just basically threw this giant rager up in upstate New York because we were allowed to. I had some friends that were picking the cave.